everyone, it's Sammy from Sammy's Sweet Life, and this is an Amazon find video. I'm going to be talking about this brush pen set that I got. This is from OHUHU. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I found this company a while back. They have cheap like Copic dupes, alcohol brush marker dupes, and I was really interested. I contacted them and talked with them a little while, and it kind of petered out, and then I ended up picking out this set with my own money from Amazon because I just saw it on there. I was like, yes, I want these. They're calling these journal dual brush pen. I was thinking for planners, for brush lettering, for highlighting, that kind of thing. And I'll read you down here. It says dual tips, water-based brush and fine points, non-toxic and acid-free. So I was thinking if I start doing more brush lettering for scrapbooking and things, these are acid-free. They'll work for things like that. You can use them as journaling pens for that. And I just wanted to get them for more like basically sort of Tombow dupes. So I'm going to compare them to Tombow. We're going to swatch a few. I have a full swatch of all 160 colors. I'm going to talk about packaging and the marker itself, and yeah, we're just going to dive deep into this brush pen pack and see if it's something that might appeal to people, because it is a much cheaper option than the Tombow dual brush pen. So first up, my first gripe with this one is when you get the box, these are all over the place. They're not all turned the same side, and if you can see that, one side has a skinny side and then the other side has the brush pen, and it is a fatter side. So it's angled, which I think is very bizarre. Like, I like a straight old up and down pen that's basically the same size. Like, the barrel of this is the same size all the way around. This pen cap happens to be bigger. This is a Tombow dual brush pen. They're shorter than the Tombows. They're angled, like the barrel itself is angled. And so it was hard to squeeze all of these markers the same direction in this box. You can see it bows out. The magnet does still close, but it definitely bows out and is not straight. So I wish they would have put a few more millimeters in this box to make sure all of the markers actually fit in the box turned the same way, because if you are like me, you don't want half your markers. Sorry, the dog's in here. He's in here sneezing up a storm, but if you have these, you don't want some of them turned the other way. So it was all like mix and matched, and I know why now, because they barely fit the other way. Because you have them all turned the same way, they don't all fit really well. But look, the ends are different, they look different, and it's just kind of weird looking when half of them are turned one way and half of them are turned the other way. So that's my first initial gripe, is like the packaging is not going to cut it for me, because the markers do not fit well in it. You can see like my box is really bowing out and splitting now because I had them all turned the exact same way, and it really put pressure on the entire box because they barely fit like that. So the box packaging is a fail for me because I want them all turned the same way so I can see them all, they look cohesive. And the other thing with the packaging is it does come with some swatches. It comes with like little swatches so you can swatch them yourself. And then it also comes with more tips, which is also really a nice touch. The nibs, especially on brush pens, tend to wear out. It's always nice to have some replacements or be able to purchase replacements possibly. So that was a good touch that they included. But as far as the pen itself, I do not like the actual barrel. I already talked about it for packaging's sake, but I find it weird not being the same thickness. Alrighty, I'm gonna add this back into my review. I forgot to tell you guys how the caps fit on each other. So we're gonna test out both caps. So like if I'm taking the marker off, I'm gonna wanna put the cap on, right? It only fits one way because the caps are like angled. It only fits one way like that. This way does not fit at all. Like it feels like it should fit and then it just doesn't. So it does end up fitting on the back, like as you're brush lettering. And then the tiny cap here for the pointed end doesn't fit at all. So if you're using the tiny end, you cannot put this cap on the other side. I tried multiple different ones and it's the same thing. It's very just loose. So it looks like it was designed to try to fit on there, and then it just doesn't actually make connections. It's just too loose. So that is a little unfortunate that you will have to have the cap separately, but you can stack it if you're doing brush lettering. You can stack this one. So that's just something to note. But as far as the colors, I think the colors are amazing. I love how many colors you have, and they are numbered 1 through 160. And you can see it looks like it goes in kind of a rainbow order as far as like chunks of various colors. So they do have smaller packages, and I am not 100% sure they're numbered the exact same way. So if you get like a package of 30 or 36 or whatever, I don't know if you get 1 through 36 or they're going to be certain numbers on here and you have blanks in the number scale. But there is a look at all of the colors. I do have like a skin tone set, which I would imagine is like right in through here, as there's lots of peachy and brownish tinted colors right in through there. So I think a lot of the skin tones would be pulled from that section. You can see by the look of this, the brush thickness is nice thickness. The little fine tip is a nice, very, very fine nib there. It's like a fine liner. You can see it's, you know, that kind of tip, which is really nice. It gives you a very nice thin line, whereas with the Tombows you do have another felt tip, so it's just a little bit thicker of a line. We'll do a little bit of swatching here and there, but the one thing I'll say is the brush pen end is just not very consistent as far as the flexibility of it. I found like I was trying to press about the same, and you can see some of them get really big and splotchy, some of them are stiffer, so I get a smaller, thinner line on those, and I really tried to apply pretty much the same pressure. Of course, I'm going to vary it a little bit, but we're talking like serious variation in line thickness here. It's not consistent looking at all. You know, there's some that are really squishy looking, and then there's some that are very thin looking. So it really just depends on the marker. So I would definitely do like a test before you're like playing around with brush lettering on something you're actually going to try to keep. So as far as the brush pen and Tombows in comparison, I'll show you guys both brush tips here, and they look, you know, very similar. This one is a little bit like fatter and rounded more, and this one's more pointy. But as far as like brush lettering, I'm not the best brush letterer. I feel like you get a good amount of pressure on that. And then these ones just have like a longer feeling brush, and I feel like I can play around with this one a little bit more. Whereas this one happened to be not nearly as flexible feeling. Like this is really flexible at the tip, and that's pretty much it as far as the Tombows. These ones, you get more flexibility in some of them. Some of them tend to just be like at the tip. Let's see if I can find one that's like really floppy. Some of these browns. Here's 127. So this one happened to be a little bit more flexible, and you can see it bends a little bit more. I just find this one be a little bit more loosey-goosey than this one. This one was like nice and firm, so I feel like maybe over time some of these will loosen up and feel a little bit more flexible, but initially to start, a lot of these weren't super duper flexible, and then there were some that were just like getting ink all over the place. So I think they're very comparable as far as the Tombows. They're just a much, much cheaper option. You get lots of colors for not a huge amount of money. And I happen to really like the smaller tips on these. Like this is a writing pen, you know? It's really nice and small. And I could totally see using these in my planner a bunch, because the writing tip is just, you know, it's a fine liner type of writing tool. And I really, really like that kind of tip. I find that like with all the other brush pens and dot pens and things like that, you're left with that felt nib. Now these ones have a decent size line, but it's still like, you know, a different type of tip. I really love these ones that have a little bit of the metal, you know, that's going to hold up nicely over time. So I really, really think, of course, the brush pen side is really great. I'll use it for highlighting and brush lettering and all that stuff, but I think these ones have the best like dual tip from all the things. I don't tend to use these ones because they're nice and fat. I don't tend to use these ones that much because they're just fatter. And I find also the more I use these ones, the fatter the tip will end up getting. They start splitting a little bit. They start getting bolder over time. So I don't tend to use the Tombow dual side at all, but these ones I will. I really, really like the dual side of these. Now, as far as the packaging of these, I think the packaging is just not where it's at. I do not like the package at all. So I was actually going to move these into one of the kids' little caddies and see how it goes. So there is the colors. I just love seeing all of them all together. And this set has so many good pinks and so many good neutral tones, some blushy tones. And also I really like this whole section of jewel tone ones. And of course, so many aquas. I'm so happy that it has so many different aqua colors. Do you need the whole set of 160? Probably not. There are a lot of colors that are very, very similar, like 11 and 12 are very similar. A lot of these aquas are very similar. So you really don't need the whole 160 pen set unless you're really trying to do lots of shading or whatever. But yeah, it's nice. So I ended up getting some Target dollar spot caddies, and I stole this one from the kids because I gave them one of the new caddies. I'm gonna try to stick the 160 pens in this side. I put all of my dot pens on one side. I don't know what's going in here yet, but this box is just not cutting it for me. I told you guys why. I ranted about the box a little bit. So I'm gonna just try to move them over into here, and that's gonna be quite the feat, trying to keep them upright. I want them all the same direction. That's like the main point of doing this. It's like getting them all in the same direction would be very nice and helpful. Okay, does that look any better? Probably not. Now they're kind of falling every which direction. And I may end up flipping them over the other way, depending on like how dry the brush tips get. I don't know that it tells you that they need to be stored a certain way. Maybe on the website it will say. But like this box is made to be upright, so I don't know that it matters. Some of these pens, it really doesn't matter if they are stored upright or sideways. But there you go. Some of them are still flipped the wrong way. I'm trying to flip them the right way. But that is a whole set. I don't think that I like them in here either, so I'll probably stick them back in that box for now. But I just really was not happy that the box was so tight and like bowing out. But I might end up keeping them in there because this is kind of floppy and all over the place. But I really was happy with the set. I couldn't believe how cheap it was for that many brush pens. I mean, 160 brush pens, that's a lot. Let's see if I can find my page again. There you go. There's what it looks like. I'm super happy with them. I think it's a great dupe. And if you want something that's skinny in a lot of colors, this is the way to go. Like that other side tip is such a nice dual side tip. Usually when I get anything that's dual-sided, I'm not super impressed, and I don't tend to use the opposite, like fine side very often because I'm just not a huge fan of like really thick markery looking lines, but these ones are pen lines, and that alone would like make me want to purchase the set. Even if I didn't use the brush side, I really like that fine line side. But there you go, there's what it looks like. I hope you guys like this. I will link to the specific 160 pen pack that I got, but there are lots of other packs from OHUHU. Just make sure that it's the water-based set. Alcohol-based markers like Copics and the alcohol-based ones of these are gonna soak right through planner paper. They bleed like crazy, so don't get those sets. Make sure they're the water-based brush pen sets. And they also have watercolor ones too, which is going to be one of my next purchases. I would love to have some watercolor brush pens, so I will probably be getting some of those and playing around with those in the future as well. There is this brush pen review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love doing pen reviews. So this one was an extra fun one for me with 160 colors. So hope you guys are well. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow me along. Check my planner playlist down below if you're interested in more planner related content, and I will catch you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.